WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello. It is Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we've got a great show for you today. Two great folks are going to talk to us about things you always want to know about. It's Monday at 4, Community Bell Show. We've got just a few days left before Election Day, November the 5th. November the 5th. November the 5th. Now, for all of those of you who have not registered yet, you still have time to register to vote. And if you have registered, you can go right now. You don't have to wait till November the 5th. You can vote early absentee ballot. And starting 9 days before the election, you can vote in person absentee ballot. There'll be all locations all over the area where you can go in person and vote. So you have no excuse. I had to work. Nope, doesn't work. Does not work as an excuse because you got plenty of days to do it. Get you and your folk to the polls. It's just that important. It is just that important. I have with me today in the studio Mr. Dwight Harris, and you've heard Dwight before. Dwight is a regular on the show. Dwight Harris is going to talk to us about a program that he initiated with DWIN, Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, a program for men that he started, and it was on Saturday. What was it? Saturday, September 21st?
Yes.
Saturday, September 21st. Um, it was a great program. I saw some of it online. It was a great program. So Dwight's going to talk about that. And we also have online with us our regular second Monday rather of the month, Mr. Ken Scott, who's going to talk about real estate and how important your vote is to the area around you and the real estate around you, and whether or not you get a loan, or whether or not there is a grant for you, or whether or not you can work with your community. So both these young men are going to have some really, really important information that you need to hear. First of all, Dwight, talk to us about your program that was on the 21st.
Good afternoon. I'm Dwight Harris, everybody. I'm a host on the show most of the time. And so I just believe that it came about me working with DWIN and them asking me what it is that I wanted to do. And working in mental health and being a mental health advocate, I just realized that, as everybody know, my contrast is always where I've been. I spent a lot of time in prison. And so it was about men. When I think about the issues that faces every day in our community, it's men issues, and so we had a forum that was geared towards men's wellness, and it was called Wellness for Him. And so the forum is a men helping men, a strength circle. And so we coming together with a lot of speakers, a lot of great speakers from the metropolitan area, and it was very diverse. And we spoke about all those issues that affects us as men. We couldn't get them all in one program, but we were able to talk about basically the mask and the masculinity. That was one of the things we talked about, where the machoism and how machoism can spill out into your lifestyle, or the way you feel as a man. But how do we learn to basically humble ourselves and to be civil, especially our children, where now we have young men acting like robots or animals. And so we talked about that, masking that masculinity, which is a big thing. Like, our masculinity is not to be used in a threatening way, or to use it to bolster ourselves or to get ourselves ahead, but it's to be a help. Being a man is to be a support to our community and use our masculinity in that way. And also we talk about the legacy, generational legacy, and how a lot of the things generationally have not crossed over, and why it hasn't crossed over is because the uncle and we do not foster those conversations with our children like our grandparents used to do, meaning that we need to get back to the basics. And then it was just about honing in on learning coping skills as men. And how do we as men navigate through this society today? And so it was so much, and talk about HIV, how that's so prevalent in our community, especially here in Detroit, and where it's unspoken about. A lot of people don't speak about it. It's a topic where people are afraid to speak about.
Really?
But the
I didn't realize
prevalence,
HIV was still that prevalent in our
yeah,
community.
because of the prevalency of it now, it's where it's hurting us because there's men that's on the down low, and men on the down low can pass it over. So that brother is the brother that we need. Like he could really hurt our community because he having sex with a man. He may be married and he having sex with a man and just
Wow.
crossing that. And so yeah,
I,
yeah,
and I just thought, I don't know what, I guess because you don't hear
yeah,
as much about it.
yeah.
I thought we had that under control, that was not as prevalent and was not as much an issue. So you're telling me that that's not true,
And
that it
so
is.
the
Wow.
residuals of it is that somebody attracts it, and then now the suicide rate is half of that person because he is ashamed to talk about it and he don't want no more. And a lot of people believe that their life is over if they have HIV, AIDS, or one of those things. And that's not true. With all the drugs they have out, PrEP is one of them. You have drugs that you can actually take, preventively, and to have sex, even if somebody that had it, and we are not contracted because of that. So the research for HIV is so far since the 70s and 80s when the conversation about it was heightened. It's not heightened now, but it is. The
Still an issue.
statistics of it can be alarming. I mean, they're indifferent. They're indifferent with our community, and so we do want to decrease those statistical numbers when it comes to HIV and the spread of it in our community, and the actual awareness. We need to talk about it more. But just men, and then substance abuse, how substance abuse affects us, and how our lifestyles and where we come from, and the traumatic experiences that we experience as children, as people, and how we are our own walking trauma, and that nobody is crazy. Like the word is crazy. We're so apt to use the word crazy when we don't understand another person. Well, now today, because we in such a mental health crisis, reverting back to COVID, then we have to be careful of the language barriers we use. People are more sensitive now. And so with that said, right, like it just makes sense to me. It's fitting for a woman, a conceiver, a soulful entity, something that produces, brings forth something that secures. So this is a time dealing in this crisis, mental health crisis, where in any household that I was raised in, and all the people I know, right, I've learned that it was her. It was her that got the house together.
Okay.
It was she. And so when I think about this election, then I do think about the actual name, but I think about her.
Okay.
When it comes to us being in a jam, have you ever been in a jam? Have you ever been down? Have you ever been sick? Have you ever been in a position where you couldn't get out of bed? Have you ever been in a position where you needed some tea? When you needed somebody to come where nobody else would be there, you needed somebody to sit at your bedside. Or you needed somebody just to come where you was at across the country or get on the plane. I'm quite sure when it comes to relying and responsibility of somebody that you knew that was going to actually cradle you, put you in a real warm and safe position. I know you thought about your grandmama, but not only that, you did think about her. It was because all the time I did in prison, all the guys wasn't calling for him. They weren't calling for the daddy. They was calling for their grandmamas and their mamas and their sisters, the people that accept their calls. So when it comes to acceptability and responsibility in a household, And we look at America, America is a household. This is our household. Why wouldn't we want her to take care of the household when she the one that conceived us? To be able to even be in the household,
I got you.
it was her that brought us forth to be in the household. So not to be spiritual about it, right? But the foundation of the time, what's going on right now, is fitting for her to fit in there to fix it. Because all my life, I've known her to fix everything for me.
She is the one who fixed it.
It don't have to have a name on it.
Yes.
But today we say Kamala Harris. Her name is Kamala Harris. There's a meaning to Kamala too. The name Kamala Harris. We make the meaning about what a person do, what they do, what they do. So her standards, her fundamental standards is for families to get back to work and for rich people not to take the money away. This is in layman terms for those that don't understand what politics is all about. It's all about somebody is going to make it easy for you, better for you.
Okay, there it
Not
is.
not that every dollar you spend, you going to come up short 10 cent or 15 cent out of every dollar you spend. So we're talking about investing in the fact that we have a little bit more 10 to 20 cent in our dollar that we can save or that we can spend when it comes to value. That's why we have to look at the liberal agenda. Because when you look at the liberal agenda, with her running, that's basically where it started at. It was the feeling.
Shirley says it's okay to be spiritual. It's okay.
It was the feeling.
Be spiritual. Thank you, Shirley.
Right? And so coming from a man. So there is these conversations, right? These conversations about whether they should vote. Well, I say, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be breathing.
All right.
We wouldn't even be living.
Got it.
So if that was ever, the thing is a decision. We're talking about a decision. So what decision will you make if it was on you to say, she's the one to make a decision for me when she's the one to make the decision all my life? She has made the decision. Not in my life. I'm talking about in your life, in your life, in your life, in your life. And even right now, she makes decisions in your life, and in your. She make your food too. You can even be poisoned, but you trust her to make your food. You trust her to make your drink.
There you go.
And bring your drink and sit there. You trust her to make your bath water. You trust her to put your clothes on.
All that.
I'm just saying for a man.
Yeah, for a man. Okay, Ken Scott, are you there? I love it. Ken Scott is there.
Yes,
Ken,
I am here.
have you heard the conversation?
I have. Very enlightening.
These theories that black men are going to support Trump.
First and foremost, thank you for calling me a young man, Edna. Because I appreciate that. Second thing is, it is so disheartening to know that the black woman has supported us all this time and been there for us since birth, nurtured us, taught us, just been there for us in general. And we're going to let an idiot like Trump that hasn't done anything for our community, despite what he said, despite his name on several checks. We are so easily influenced by the things that are so minute and the things that add substance to our lives, we just forego. Here this man is up on 34 counts. If any black man was brought up on those same accounts, those same counts, excuse me,
They would have been in jail a long time ago.
then we would be under the jail. We would have
Yes.
been under the jail with no representation, and we wouldn't even had a public defender. Let this man come up, lie to us in our face multiple times in the media, and we are blown away by just his propaganda that he spewed out on the Apprentice and other programs. And then we have rappers down in Atlanta and elsewhere that say they're supporting him.
It's
And
quite amazing. And when he was here in
I am
Detroit, the nerve of him to say Detroit,
I'm so taken off.
denigrate a city that you are speaking at. They should have all the members should have gotten up and walked out.
If anything, that should have stimulated us to go to the polls right then and there.
Exactly.
To vote against that idiot.
Exactly. But also look at who was in
what we have to do is
thing about
let me say this real quick. What we have to do is
why those are easy to come to Detroit and make a whole lot of money, but then won't say anything when somebody is denigrating the city and the people in it. That's an issue for me.
And that's
absolutely. And I like I told you several times before, our community is based on three areas, 3 districts: residential, commercial, retail, and school district. Residential. Look around at our neighborhoods. And ask yourself, who has the propensity to our neighborhoods? Then we look at the individuals that want business loans, hopefully to build up these commercial districts that we have in the city of Detroit that are blighted, that are vacant, that don't serve the community as it relates to services and products. We have to go 10 to 20 miles outside the city. And you want this man to represent you again, knowing he has no intention of coming into this city, but he wants to degrade it. Then you have a school district where our illiteracy rate is so far above what the literacy rate is of this United States. And we don't have a means to offset that by giving the proper education.
Hold on, Ken. No. Hold on. You can't talk about my school system like that. It is not the highest literacy rate in the country. I just need to correct that so everybody doesn't think that. It is not the highest literacy rate in the country.
No. I wasn't saying the school system. But let me say this. I'm not saying the school system. I'm saying the illiteracy rate of some individuals that are in this city that haven't learned how to read or write. They go by looking at TV and listening to the radio, when there are programs out there for both academic and vocational learning that we don't take advantage of. And like we had spoken about before, when these individuals don't know the 3 branches of government and how they work together in order to create bills or legislation that can improve our residential district, our commercial retail district, and our school systems, not to mention the food deserts that within our community, that we have to go out to the suburbs, east, west, north, south, to find some goods as far as fresh fruit and meat. And we got to go outside the city to find some draws. How can you allow this man to come in here? You support him, and he hasn't done a doggone thing for you, your mama, your sisters, your grandmama, you, your cousins, your uncles, your daddies. This is highly, highly disheartening for us to look at each other as males, knowing that the woman, that black woman, has held our house down. And here's a black woman that's trying to ascend to the presidency of the United States, and you want to hold her back. You want to hold her back from helping us. In other words, help her help you. And that's one of the things that I find a great deal of fault with black men across the United States that are not educated as it relates to the system and how it works and how we can use the system in order to better our communities. That's all I have to say.
Your point is so well taken. But you see, I don't really think that there are some black men who are going to support the other candidate. But I think a lot is being made of this that shouldn't be made of this. I don't think there are that many black men who are.
I said some, not all. I said some, not all.
No question, some are going to, but I don't think the numbers are as large as is being portrayed. I think that's a PR mess that has come about. I just don't believe that black men support the other candidate. High enough numbers.
I don't think they're as small as it's been documented. I don't think it's as small as it's been documented. I think the numbers are a lot higher.
See, I disagree.
And if we had an accurate system of metrics, we would find that.
I disagree that there are that many black men who are going to support the other candidate. Now, there are some, clearly. As a matter of fact, interestingly enough, we have in the Wayne County jail system, many of the persons who are there have not been adjudicated yet. And those people can still vote. And we've got people going into the jail, as we always do,
eligible to vote,
to make sure they're registered and to do the absentee ballots, help them with their absentee ballots. Those men, the majority of them, I hate to say, have said they're going to vote for the other candidate. They said they're going to vote for the other candidate because she is a prosecutor and a prosecutor has put them in jail. That's their logic.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad to say that there are more outside of jail than there are inside of jail. And the numbers that are outside are going to outweigh those that are inside. But that's a true statement. That's a problem for all of us.
So the rhetoric is so the rhetoricism of it is that Trump is this businessman,
supposedly
apprenticeship, like the
TV show,
the Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, for us, the thing what people are not understanding is that don't let nobody trick you. Like everybody in this community, like the people I know what a trick is.
Okay.
And so when you think about somebody tricking you, it's always a real misunderstanding what the real resolve is when they talk, because what they feed you tastes so good.
All right.
So rhetoric is what tastes good. So if we really want to be healthy, it's not what tastes good, it's just what's good for you. So a lot of times when it comes to punishment or prosecution in our community because of what we've been through, we don't want correction. So there's no society nowhere in this world, even in the animal kingdom, even in ants, where there's no punishment for when you don't do what you're supposed to do. So you may have somebody in jail. I was in jail. I did a whole bunch of time in jail, right? But the ideology is civil. If when we're talking about community, we got to think about civility, safety, order, peace. And so when you think about rhetoric, you got to be able to dissect what somebody says. But if you dissect what he say, what that man say, it never adds up to an equation that comes up to a solution. some type of potion that somebody can use to heal them. But when you talk about fixing, it's straightforward talk. Rhetoric is when you say this, you say 20 things in 1 minute. You talk about 20 things in 1 minute. And if you can't think, the retort catches you. Some of it catches you, but you never really get a resolve out of it. But enough of it tell you not to look at the next person. That means that you got tricked to look to the left when you should have been looking to the right. You see what I'm saying? You could be tricked by the way people talk to you because it sounds like something the way you live. It's nothing wrong with believing in something that's contrary to who you are. What happens in our community, we think if somebody act a goddamn fool, that he's the right person to vote for because he remind me so much of me. he remind me so much of me. I'm gonna vote for him because he gonna let me get away with stuff. Well, your grandmama didn't let you get away and you love her the most. I think it's the ideology that we need to go back home. That don't think about nothing else. Go back home. Let's go back to the basic. And if you wasn't a part of the basic, think about what your mama used to tell you, how her grandmama or her mama used to treat her. The reason I say that is because this is about households. This is about who gonna run our household. We're talking about a woman. Who told you that she can't run the household though? I mean, for real, like who told you? How did you end up figuring out in 2024 that she can't run a household when she the one wiped all your life, wipe your children, because you probably dropped the babies off over there. You didn't drop them off over his house. So let me say this to everybody. Let's not drop the baby off over his house. Don't drop the baby off over there. If you don't understand nothing else about politics, we got a him and a her that we're talking about. I'm not even gonna say we got a him and we got a her. Are you gonna drop the baby off over his house? Or you drop the baby over her house?
All right.
I'm gonna drop the baby off over her house. I don't care what
brother.
The uncle say or the great father he is, and we know he's so great. I'm not taking the baby over his house.
Because he don't know how to take care of the baby. Ken, we just got to housing. Talk about housing.
Well, let me touch on this point that Dwight stated, because
and how
I love that. I love what he stated. Because understand this, Trump was given billions of dollars by his father, cheated his brothers and sisters out of those billions of dollars. His niece was doing the accounting of what had happened with her, and he squandered it 4 or 5 times, went bankrupt several times, 34 accounts. It boggles my mind that he got in a show called The Apprentice because he was never the apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
He was just given money. The other thing is, someone mentioned the other day that he's an actor. He's a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the crazy thing about that is? Fox, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and NBC have all contributed to his show.
Yes.
Because every time he does something, they put it on the air. Yeah. And the only thing that separates one lie from another is a commercial break.
Hey.
Okay? So we got to stop buying into the lie. And to use Dwight's analogy, I'm not going to drop the baby off with somebody that can't nurture it, that can't improve it, can't educate it, when I can drop it by Kamala Harris's house. Know she's going to fix dinner. Know that she's going to have her nieces and nephews derive some kind of education from the time that they have her, to have them.
She gonna
and,
kill
and inspire them to be greater.
Yes. Not gonna have the baby lying. The baby won't have to
Right.
lie and cheat.
I mean, how many times are we gonna change? Are we gonna have the baby dropped off at his house, and he gonna crap all over him?
Or just leave him.
leave
Or
the
leave him.
Leave the baby by himself.
or send the baby.
Okay. And a good example of that is all those people
Yeah.
that he separated from their parents, all those kids that he separated from their parents. That's a good analogy, Dwight. Because he took those kids from those parents. Now they'll never know their parents, their heritage.
Yeah.
It was like slavery.
Yeah.
Okay. We still don't know who our relatives are past our great grandmothers and grandfathers. They're the same. They're in the same position. They don't know their heritage. They were dropped by some irresponsible governmental entity that wanted to divide, not nurture, not build up, not inspire, but divide. And that's what Trump has done for us. He has divided some black people. He has divided the individuals that call themselves Democrats, divided the Republicans, and unfortunately, he's divided the independents that are going to make the difference in this race.
That's right.
Regardless of state, whether it be Southern, Eastern, Western, South, whatever the case may be, all of us should be on board to eliminate this.
That's what it is.
This irresponsible person, and I'm giving him the benefit of a doubt, this irresponsible person that is going to cause our country to go into a great emotional, moral, spiritual, educational deficit. And we need to wake up. We only have about 20 more days. I forgot how many the count is and everything because I'm not on MSNBC or Fox or whatever. But we have some days to get our households in order so we can ascend to the polls and make sure that our vote is counted. Because there's no better apparel to wear than that little sticker that you get after you voted saying, I voted. Did you?
Exactly. And that's the key, getting people to the polls. So for those of you who are no folks who have a car, people can't drive, take them to the polls.
Pick them up.
Pick them up, take them to the polls. Make sure that we have the turnout because that's what's going to do it. You know, when Trump won Michigan and when he won the election before, 21 days left, everybody. 21 days left before you can go to the election. But he won Michigan by 10,700 votes. There's more than that people in Detroit who didn't vote.
Exactly.
There's 3 times as many people in Detroit who did not vote. So the key
in the primary,
people to the polls. So what we have to do is have an all-out effort to make sure that everybody on the block, and I know we don't do this as much as we used to, but back in my days, back in the 80s and 90s, we had something we call flushers. Mm-hmm. And we had stations all over the metropolitan area. My particular station was at Third New Hope Church.
You know where it is.
And we had folk with cars ready, taking people out to the communities. We dropped them off on the corner. And their job was to go down the street and knock on doors. Have you voted yet? Have you voted yet? If not, we have a ride for you right here. We can take you to the polls right now. We don't care. We didn't ask people who they were voting for. That wasn't the issue. The question was, have you voted? And if you have not voted, come on, let's go. We had people with megaphones and big microphones on cars going down the streets. Today is election day. Have you voted? Did you forget? Come on, let's go vote. I've not seen that happen in 20 years. We need to get back to that. Because
we don't need to wait for that last day either.
Who don't remember to vote. I hate to say it, but we've got to get those, every little bit helps. So we've got to get those last few people who've forgotten that day was election day to get them to the polls. But before that, we got to go to the basketball courts where these kids are playing basketball. They're playing
Nightclubs.
basketball everywhere. And those young people are eligible to vote.
Nightclubs as well.
Nightclubs, barbershops, not as many bowling alleys as we used to have, but bowling alleys, nightclubs, barbershops, shopping malls, fast food restaurants. Stand outside of McDonald's and see how many people you can get to go.
We gotta act like this the first time we ever voted. Like the first voters they voted, we ever had a right to vote. They were tripping over each other to get.
They were waiting in line for hours. We've got to act like this was the first vote for Obama in 2008 when the line stretched around the block.
Yeah.
People lined up for hours.
Let me say this.
Took them snacks. We've got to do that same thing because this is even more important this time because we have somebody who really is unhinged. And I know that his doctor has written a letter saying that he's so healthy. He's not a healthy person.
Right.
He is not a healthy person mentally or physically. We've got to make sure that we don't have that person anywhere near the White House making a decision about our children, about this world, and the nuclear codes.
And the thing be, one of the things I'm like, we don't have to have a bad thought. Like, God don't bless you when your thoughts are bad, when you're trying to fix something. We having a good thought in removing him. We having a good thought by not allowing him to be there. And so that thought is like this. So it's nothing good that he's ever said. Now, let's analyze that. There's nothing good he has ever said. He has made history in being a clown.
And I've
never seen nobody, like my understanding of professionalism in work and helping people have nothing to do with the vernacular that he uses to express his campaign. His campaign can easily switch at any time in this conversation. Let us think about this for a moment. Do you want him to make a decision for you? When all his man got to do is switch like 1 minute? He's shown that he can switch up any minute. I don't want him to lead me because I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he would do. He's shown you what he can do. How is it that you don't believe what you see? It's so clear.
Don't believe him.
Well, let me say this.
Crazy.
Edna, let me say this. Now we'll go back to Dwight's point again. If you're going to drop the baby off, make sure that they got a roof over their head, food to eat, education, and later on a job.
Yeah.
Who's going to furnish that? Let's go back to the economics of it now.
Yeah.
Because understand this. He gave you a check when he should have helped prevent the pandemic. We wouldn't have been laid off or without job or under paid if we had gotten the vaccine that he was holding back or that he was suggesting that we put chloroform or Clorox in our systems and what have you. So let's go back to the education part. The education, the transportation, the housing, all those entities, that Kamala Harris has mentioned. Have you once heard Trump mention any of those as it relates to our community? What he's done is wanted to assimilate how you've gone to jail, how you wear gold-plated sneakers,
and a Trump,
how you have a Bible of a person that never picked it up.
A Trump Bible. I'm done with
You got a Bible of a person that never picked one up. And like they say in the neighborhood and everything, where's the best place to hide good information or any information? Is in a book.
There you go.
He never picked up the Bible, let alone any other book. Because if you hear anything that his aides have said, is that if he didn't hear it from them, or didn't have his own ideas, he wouldn't have had an idea to espouse.
I know.
And also,
Come on now.
I also want to say, like, a lot of people don't know where the headquarters, the Democratic headquarters at.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Livernois and Outer Drive. I don't know the digits, but it's the pop shop right there.
It's 19410 Livernois. Right between Simply Casual and Good Times restaurant.
410 Livernois, and you could come and get some flyers, you can get some signs,
yard signs,
all those things. You could be up to date of what we're doing, the canvassing and all those things. We need people to come to the headquarters at
19410 Livernois.
19410 Livernois. People don't know where it's at. Please pass that information on.
And hold on for a second. There's another one at the Mathis Center at 7 Mile in Greenfield.
It's at Greenfield and near 7 Mile.
Yeah,
right. Mathis Center.
North of 7 Mile, the Mathis Center as well. Please come and get your signs, get some from your friends and all the things. Get some paper, the flyers. Take a picture of it with your phone and post it on Facebook.
There you go.
Put on all your social media, TikTok, everything else.
Yeah. TikTok your way to the polls, though.
Yes, let's blast it out. Let's blast it out.
TikTok your way to the polls.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you so much, Dwight. I really appreciate you two being on. We're gonna have to do this again before the election day because this is just too important.
Dwight, I want to get your contact information, man.
Okay, bro.
It's too important. So we're going to see you next Monday. But before then, early voting is taking place. I want you to know that. Early voting is taking place right now. Early voting is taking place 9 days before the election. You can go in person to vote. Please, and if you are someone who has been in jail and is out, you can vote. You can vote. You can. Dwight's been in jail, but Dwight's at one of our head voters.
Or in jail, and you haven't been convicted.
I wanted to be whole. Voting makes you feel whole.
All right.
Like if you've never been to jail, you don't feel whole. You feel like you're a piece of something. But coming home, not just coming home, but being a part of the system, like civility,
you can
community.
Vote.
To be able to vote, it's states where you cannot vote.
There are states where, but Michigan is one of those states.
Vote.
You can vote. If you're on probation, you can vote.
It makes you feel good. If you've never been to the poll, go. It makes you feel good.
If you're on parole, you can vote. So don't let anybody say you can't vote up because of those issues. You can vote. And lastly, on this coming Sunday, the 20th, the Gospel Music Workshop of America Detroit chapter is holding its annual Women's Choir concert and celebration. And so be there. Burnett Baptist Church, 16801 Schoolcraft, Burnett Baptist Church. They're going to be honoring several people, one of which will be the Wayne County Commissioner, Alicia Bell. I just thought I'd throw that in. But be there. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. It is free. But we accept all donations. Free will donations are readily accepted. So be there. We have the last event for this year in terms of people celebrating the 19th of October. Why you should vote. Be there. Okay. I think that's it. We're going. See you next Monday at 4:00. We have so much information. Ken, thank you so much. Dwight, thank you so much. We're going to do this before election again. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
I get your information from mine.
Hello, Detroit. Election Day is November 5th. But why wait? Beginning Saturday, October 19th, you can vote early at one of Detroit's 14 early vote centers. Early voting runs through Sunday, November 3rd. So let your voice be heard and vote early. If you're voting by absentee ballot, return your ballot as soon as possible. For more information, visit our website or give us a call. And remember to vote, because it's not only your right, it's the right thing to do.
Get ready, Detroit! The Gospel Music Workshop of America Detroit chapter presents Women Impacting the World 2024. Join us for an unforgettable concert experience featuring a powerhouse 100-voice women's choir under the direction of Evangelist Sandra Rose, along with Sheila Oden, Sherry Watson Robinson, and Teresa Youngblood. It's all happening Sunday, October 20th at 4 p.m. at the Greater Burnett Baptist Church, 16801 Schoolcraft Road. Oh, and that's not all. We're honoring some of Detroit's finest women, including Commissioner Alicia Bell, Reverend Mother Norma Jean Pender, Bishop Coletta Vaughn, and Dr. Carol Cole. With musical special guests Akita Steen and Fire. This is one concert you do not want to miss, and admission is free. A free will offering will be collected. For more information, visit gmwadetroit.org. Be there and witness women impacting the world.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.